The EG4 Chargeverter Plus is a fancy little box that really only does one job. But if you've been thinking of going solar or you recently installed a solar kit, that one job may be really important. So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. About 2 years ago, EG4 released the original Chargeverter. We thought it was great. Its entire purpose is to clean up dirty power coming from a generator and put it into your batteries. And we used the original one here at the lab all the time. There was nothing that we really didn't like about it, yet EG4 still chose to update it. So when we first saw this thing, our main question was, did it get better or did it just get more expensive? As always, we will leave links to this and any discount codes we can get from EG4 in the description down below to save you guys as much money as possible. We have both quizzes in the description to help you pick the power station that's best for you if you're thinking of going that route, or if you're looking for solar, whether you're doing DIY or looking for someone to do the whole thing for you. We have a quiz there that will connect you directly with a company that we genuinely trust and recommend. Otherwise, before we jump into all the things with the Chargeverter Plus that we really didn't like, and all the things that we did, we're going to hear the super quick spec teardown to get you up to speed on this new little black box. First up, this thing passes the tiny baby lift test. It weighs about 14 pounds. You can put 120 or 240 volts into this unit, which is pretty cool. The max that you can charge your batteries with when this is plugged into 120 volts is 2,560 watts. The max that you can charge your batteries with when it's plugged into 240 volts is 5,120 watts. So you're basically charging one server rack battery per hour. The Plus actually has an IP54 water rating, which is way better than the old one at an IP21. You can see that there's a little latch and waterproof lock right here on the breaker, and the whole design is just a little bit more concealed. This isn't meant to get wet or go underwater by any means, but definitely cool that they improved the weather rating on it. And when you take a look at the rest of this thing, you have your built-in 125 amp breaker. You have your screen with your button controls on the front right here. On the side, you have your positive and negative battery terminals. Right here is your communication port, and then you have dry connects as well. So you can actually hook this up to a generator and have the generator cue it on and off, which is pretty cool. You have some screws and stuff on the back. You can put different wall brackets on to mount it. And then you have fans on both sides right here. And you have your inlet port. So this is just where you'd plug your 120 or 240 volt cable into to put power into it. They also improved the operating temperature of this guy. The old one was only rated to work down to -10 degrees Celsius. This one is actually rated to work down to -40 degrees Celsius, which is great, especially for people that live in colder climates. If you have this in the garage or something, you don't have to worry about the garage not being heated and all of your stuff still working. And at the time of filming this video, the Chargeverter Plus is just under $600 with our discount code at Signature Solar. So before we jump into all the things that we like about this thing, I'm gonna give you guys a quick overview of what it even is and why you might need it. So basically, this thing's whole job is to plug into a generator, take the power that comes from a generator, clean it up, and then output it to your batteries. Generators generally run at about 60% efficiency. And Signature Solar says that the #1 cause of failure on their inverters is dirty power coming from generators. Basically, the 60% efficiency means if you have a 10,000 watt generator and it is running over 6,000 watts, the power output is not going to be clean. It's not going to be like a pure sine wave clean power. It fluctuates quite a bit as the generator is banging around. You could picture the power kind of banging around as it comes out of there. And so professional solar people like Signature Solar recommend that if you want to put 6,000 watts of power into an inverter, you actually get a 10,000 watt generator to make sure that the power that's going into your inverter isn't going to damage it. And so this thing takes the power from your generator, even when it's running at full tilt and it's not clean power, and it cleans it up before you put it to your batteries so you don't blow things up. This thing can automatically start and stop your generator based on your battery percentage levels. That's what the green little clips on the side right here for. That's for the dry connect for the generator. And the cool thing with this is you can plug it into anything to charge your batteries. You can plug it into an EV charger, a grid outlet at your house, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be plugged into a generator. So first up, we really were happy with how this thing performed in our testing. The idle consumption was about 4 watts when it was just sitting there on, extremely low, you won't really notice it. And everything else, it did as advertised. We were able to get the charge rate between about 92 and 95 amps. The 120 volt adapter works well if you have a smaller generator. 240 volt adapter works well if you have a bigger generator. The fans are still extremely loud. It sounds like there's a fighter jet ramping up to take off out of your garage. But I guess at least it's keeping itself cool. The one thing we did find in our charging to note though is the 120 volt cable will pull more than 1800 watts. So you got to make sure that you put it on an appropriately sized breaker, or go in the settings and just turn the settings down. I think it's meant to be able to pull the max out of a 120 volt generator, but that's a lot more than what a regular house plug will do. So you will be blowing breakers if you just plug it in to a wall outlet in your home and don't change the settings. The next thing that we like, kind of tied off to that, is that you can get a 120 volt cable that has the special fitting that you need to plug into a Chargeverter. You can see this thing is clearly meant to take more than 1800 watts. It is super thick. We do like that they have this cable because if you do have a smaller 120 volt generator kicking around, you're able to really pull some power out of it to charge up your batteries. You don't have to get a 240 volt big generator just to charge up your batteries. Like we said earlier, we like the IP rating, that it's weather resistant. This would pair really nicely with something like a Boss Box. You can put it outside in the Boss Box, and it's not meant to be like outside in the weather, but it can be outside in kind of like an enclosure. It'll perform well. Something like this is really good to like kick those batteries back on once they're super dead. We find that when we're running even just the mini split in the garage, if we leave it on all weekend and we don't have any sun, those batteries will deplete themselves to the point where it takes a while to get them to take a charge. Something like this, you can fire full power into those batteries and get them right back up and running really quickly. We also really like that no matter what inverter you have, as long as it has those dry connections on there, you can use this and you can program it so that the battery state of charge triggers this, so that if you don't have solar and your batteries are getting low, this can kick on, charge your battery up, and it will turn on your generator to take the power, which is pretty cool. You could also just have it plugged into a wall outlet and make sure that it puts power into your batteries, do it that way. But it's nice that it can communicate properly with a generator. We also really like that it allows you to get a much smaller generator and run it at full tilt versus properly sizing a generator for your system the way that Signature Solar recommends you do. Because if you're going to buy a 10,000 watt generator just to run it at 6,000 watts, it's a lot of money to spend on a unit that you're not using to its full capacity. Something like this allows you to buy a 6,000 watt generator, save a ton of money up front and just run it at full tilt, and this will take care of the rest. There was a couple things that we didn't love about the Chargeverter Plus. Seeing that they remade the entire thing, it would have been cool if they gave us some app integration so you could also program it or monitor it from your app when you have your entire solar kit basically in one place. This is not registered to that same thing. So it'd be cool if you could just go on the app or the desktop site and see this as part of your whole kit. We also don't love that these cords, first of all, it advertises 6 feet. It's only about 5, but we don't love that these cords are so short. Like the purpose of this is to take generator power, clean it up and put it in your batteries. So you get this 5-foot cord, and these are the battery cables that you get. These are actually about 6 feet, but that's not a whole lot of cable. These are also not standard like Degson connectors. They're a little bit of a different sizing. It's not as easy to just get these. But the point here is that this is meant to take your generator power and clean it up. Your generator is probably running outside of your garage, and your batteries are probably not at your garage door. They're probably like on the front wall of your garage. So you need to cover quite a bit of distance, and you can't do it with just these two things. We have to use an adapter from the generator to this just to make this whole system work. So we wish that this came with like a 30-foot cord that you could just run straight outside and plug in your generator. That would be a little bit better. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot. The only other thing that we could think of was it'd be cool if the interface was like slightly easier to use. There's only the up down button and then enter and back, but it's a simple unit. If we had to say something that when you're improving a system like this, it would have been cool if we got like a simpler interface, but overall it works completely fine. So at the end of the day, who is this for? This is for anybody that has a solar kit, that has batteries, that has a generator, and doesn't want to do damage to their products long term. This is not a mandatory requirement, but it is true that the biggest reason for failure on inverters is dirty power coming in from your generator. So something like this, it's not cheap, but I wouldn't say it's expensive. It will make your system last that much longer and allow you to have a smaller generator running at full tilt instead of a big generator running 50%. So it's good for anybody that uses a generator to put power into their batteries. That's it. It's great. We use it without generators. We just use it from the wall, because then you don't need to have your inverter tied to a grid at all, and you can still top up your batteries with something like this. So overall, it's a great product. We love it. We use it here at the lab a lot. Let us know what you guys think. Otherwise, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you next time. Peace out and stay charged.